What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here as we do this thing every single day. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Did you think that LSU was going to get this bugaboo of having lost 5 consecutive season openers off its back at Death Valley tonight? If you did, I got to believe that you're an LSU fan. And if you are, congratulations. You just dropped the number 4 team in the country and what many people believed was the number 1 team in the country. The ranking's going to get shaken up. LSU's going to move up. Clemson's going to move down. And as folks are rolling in, I do want to take this opportunity to remind you, you're watching live as we are 100% doing the live shows like we said that we would, following the big game on Saturday night. Tonight, it was LSU-Clemson top 10 matchup in Death Valley. What if I told you that both Cade Klubnik and Garrett Nussmeier were going to finish the game with the same amount of passing yards, 230. But it's about how they got those 230 passing yards that tells the difference. Cade Klubnik looked a lot like he was running for his life a lot of the night, especially there in the second half. 19 of 38 for 230 yards, 6.1 yards per attempt, and a pick. No TDs in there. We'll get back to what Clemson did or did not do specifically on the offensive side of the ball and why there are some folks that feel vindicated by what they had seen from, what we have or have not gleaned from what Cade Klubnik has been about since he's been at Clemson. Meanwhile, Garrett Nussmeier, 28 of 38, 73.7% completion rate, 230 yards, also 6.1 yards per attempt and a TD. But he got so much more help, right? Caden Durham ran like a dude from Oklahoma because that's what he is. He's a dude from Oklahoma. You're welcome, Baton Rouge. You're welcome. We make him like that. And, when you go for 17 for 74, people tend to think that you play a little football, especially when you get the back-breaking TD like Caden Durham was able to do. Aaron Anderson turned out to be, once again, a dude for LSU. He had 6 catches for 99 yards. But this game should have been won by 2 touchdowns. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and get out in front of that before we get LSU fans that show up in here trying to give us the what, for, and how now about just what they thought was going on. Look, Barian Browning made not just a catch, but what is a TD in Clemson, in Baton Rouge, in Brazil, on Mars, in another dimension. It's a touchdown. I don't understand why that was taken off the board. That should have been the backbreaker. That should have put the game away. Instead, we ended up with an opportunity to see Clemson very much making it happen, very much, my goodness, getting back into the game. And at the end there, I thought 4th and 4, Cade Klubnik was going to find a way, but the LSU defense kept getting home. Harold Perkins seems to have found a position that they can play him in and him feel comfortable. One of the things that's been frustrating about the Harold Perkins experience since his true freshman year, where they just put him at edge and said, hey, go decapitate the quarterback, is that as soon as they took him out of that spot, it looked like you took away his superpower, which is he's faster than anybody else you got on the line of scrimmage, and he's good at chasing down guys in the backfield. At the star position, I didn't know what you're going to ask him to do. Is it going to be the star like it is for Nick Saban back when he had the defense at Alabama? And it seems to be a lot like that. Blake Baker called one hell of a football game. Like, as a defensive coordinator, I don't know that he gets enough credit for what he was able to accomplish the last couple of years, because remember, they were ready to run their defense coordinator out on a rail a couple of years ago to LSU because they couldn't stop nobody, right? Jaden Daniels was doing everything he could, won the friggin' Heisman Trophy, 3,400 yards passing, 1,100 yards on the ground, and yet and still they can't win at the highest level. And that is what Brian Kelly wants to do at LSU. And as much as I want to give Clemson its due for staying in this game, right, with Woody Wood has in them, I'm more impressed by what LSU has done. Like, LSU be loud about it, and there's some folks that don't like the way that the purple and gold get down. But when you see the offseason that they have been through with Kyron Lacey, and I mean, we lost 2 LSU players in a span of 8 months that we didn't have no business losing. We've seen this be the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina and how Northwestern decided they just weren't going to let Tulane wear the white jerseys. They're going to make them wear the green jerseys on this day. All right. And then Tulane gave them the what for the how now. If you were going to find a way to root for LSU, I think tonight was the night. And to go into Death Valley and get that win, I don't think that should be overlooked. I think that might make LSU a top 5 team heading into next week, as we're going to have some jockeying. We're going to have some moving and shaking. I was very impressed by what I saw. Held Clemson to just 13 total first downs, 3 of 13 on third down, and 261 total yards. I mean, they rushed for all of 31 yards. I mean, the rush game was non-existent. And after Antonio Williams got hurt, there was nobody left for Cade Klubnik to have a connection with. I thought it was going to be Bryant Westcoat, but it never got there. Was it going to be Randall and them that was going to be able to run the football? No. It was really up to the defense to try to get these turnovers and to make it happen. Meanwhile, the LSU offense looked like an SEC offense playing an ACC team. 354 total yards, 246 through the air, 108 on the ground. They had the 2 turnovers and the sack. But this is what you want. This is a workmanlike performance against a team that made the college football playoff last year with basically the same team intact. You took on Peter Woods, TJ Parker, Woody Woodass, Terrell, Sammy Brown, that offensive line that you kind of sort of knew about, and Klubnik, who people wanted to compare to Baker Mayfield going into this week. Didn't look like he was much of Baker Mayfield to me in this one. But they're going to get an opportunity to do this again. And looking around at college football, the SEC feels like it's going to be, once again, Georgia and whoever else gets to rise up to take them on. Tennessee looked really good today with their win against Syracuse, 45-26. Alabama looks like they have lost their identity completely. Oklahoma beat up on an Illinois State, but what we can do from that? Ole Miss beat up on Georgia State, but what we can do from that? Texas A&M pulled away from UTSA 42-21. Gave up 177 yards to one dude on the ground, though. Like, up and down, it feels like if LSU's going to find a way to get back in the SEC championship game, this might be the year to do it. And Brian Kelly had to know that, as he committed $1 million of his own money to make sure that they paid for the players that they needed to have to go compete at a high level. Those include Nick Anderson, Barry Brown, and Aaron Anderson, Caden Durham, Harold Perkins. DJ Pickett's going to be a dude when he gets there. They didn't even have A.J. Halsey until the second half because Clemson was petty enough to go look up and see, hey, that dude got into a fist fight in the second half of the last ball game he played in. He got to sit out the first half. Called the SEC office and said, hey, I'm telling on him. I'm narking on him. I don't want to see him in the first half. Didn't see him in the first half. Didn't matter. They still won 17-10. Referees played against LSU, taking away that TD. Still won 17-10. If you are an LSU fan and you are feeling yourself, I can't do nothing but turn your collar down, dog. Give everybody the business when you go to church tomorrow. That's what it is, right? Matter of fact, if you're in New Orleans and you happen to go to service with the Mannings, I hope you wear all your purple and gold. You ain't got to say nothing to them. You ain't got to be in nobody's face. I'm not telling you do that. Don't do that. It's not what I'm asking. I am saying you need to ask, so how about them Tigers? And let them, give them the nod and whatnot. You ain't got to mention the horns. You got to mention that Texas got beat down by Ohio State today. You ain't got to do none of that. When you go see your friend that go with the Tide. You know what I'm saying? Ask them. Did it roll? Did it roll? Did the Tide roll? Did it roll? Because I heard, last I heard, y'all caught this tomahawk to the face. That's what I heard. I needed to hear from you, though. Are you okay? Are you all right? You didn't answer none of my text messages. You didn't answer none of my calls. I figured, maybe you was dead, but you here, you at church. What you praying for? What you praying for? Is it the end of the Kalen DeBoer era? Is it that Nick Saban wants this whole thing back? Is it anything like that? No? Huh? Oh, you here for world peace. That's what you praying for. Okay, you here for world peace. You here for peace in the Middle East. That's what you want, huh? Get out of here. Tell the truth. Shame the devil. Alabama fans ain't going to be okay tomorrow. Texas fans ain't going to be okay tomorrow. And I'm just fine with that. My God, I'm so okay with that. You know what I'm saying? Clemson, 0-1. Alabama, 0-1. Texas, 0-1. Kent State, 1-0. Oklahoma, 1-0. I'm here for it. That's my week 1. I mean, we're not even done yet, right? We got a couple games tomorrow. We got a game on Monday. But you know what time it is. We already there. We already there. And if you're an LSU fan, you feel some kind of way, put something in your drink and think of me. That's all I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? When you go out, I know some of y'all going to be throwing the bones. I wish I was out there throwing the bones. I got invited to a spades game. I got invited to a dominoes game. I got invited to barbecue. Everybody feeling real good right now. Everybody want to have me around in the crib. And you know what? Any other day of the week, I'd be throwing them bones with you. I'd be throwing them bones with you, and I have my tall, I don't even tell y'all what I be drinking. Just know that I'm a good spades player, and I love throwing them bones, and I love doing it with people that understand what time it is. And when it's time to win, it's time to win. I think that's what we were looking at when we saw Clemson late. Was it time to win? What do you do in winning time? It's your home field. They're quiet for you. They're loud for the purple and gold. And yet still, it was almost like I hesitate to go this far, but for some of my brethren that understand what it means when I throw the hooks up, when I say the gold boots and the camouflage be out, that's how I was feeling a little bit late there. It was like, oh, the dogs is out. My bruhs is out. Okay, all right. Let me go get my chain on right quick. Let me see what I can't do. Y'all get rowdy on the way out of South Carolina, all right? Get rowdy for me one time. When we come back, I do want to have a conversation about the rest of the night of college football, what we learned from Florida State upsetting number 8 Alabama, what we learned from Kansas State damn near putting money in the bag to North Dakota, what we learned from Oklahoma and John Mateer doing something that not even Baker Mayfield had accomplished. We're back here in about 20 seconds, short break, because, you know what I'm saying, on the podcast that y'all be listed on audio, you might need to pay some ads. Back on Adapt and Respond with me, RJ Young. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We're heading toward 139,000 subscribers, and we have the podcast on Spotify, Apple. If you are kind enough to go there and leave us a 5-star review, fill out the form in the description below on the video for this on YouTube. I'll send you one of these here stickers if I could pick it up. It looked like that. I owe a lot of people stickers in the mail. I promise they're coming in the mail because I do it by hand. And I put it in the post, and it comes by, the mules. You know what I'm saying? We ain't got the budget for no FedEx around here, no UPS around here. And yes, I will ship it to wherever it is you are. If you live in Nigeria, I will ship it to you. If that is who you are, just make sure that you are very clear about the details in the link, and let me know who it is that I'm writing toward. I want to talk a bit about what has gone on in the rest of college football, because there've been some really outstanding performances in this week 1. None bigger than Ohio State beating number 1 Texas. Ohio State, who has knocked off 5 consecutive top 5 opponents dating back to last year and has been ranked number 1 just one time during those 5 opportunities that they've had to beat up on top 5 opponents, right? Now they've beaten up on the number 1 team twice. And if they are not the number 1 team come Tuesday when the AP comes out, Ohio State fans might find their nearest AP voter and want to know, what the hell were you looking at? What game were you watching? They might need to go over here and go, did you see that Penn State beat up on Nevada, though, 46-11? You mean same Penn State that can't be trusted beating no top 5 opponent at any time? They're 1-15 against top 5 opponents. And I just told you that Ohio State has knocked off 5 consecutive top 5 opponents, but you're not going to make them number 1 because it's 14-7, because you didn't see no 300-yard pass performance from Julian Sam, but you did see an outstanding defensive performance from Matt Patricia in year 1. Is that what we're doing right now? That's what I think Buckeye fans might be doing. At number 2, it's going to be interesting, right? Because I think you can make an argument for Georgia there, 45-7 win against Marshall, but Marshall had like one of the 3rd highest transfers in, because Charles Huff took everything that wasn't nailed down to Southern Miss. And they're going to get beat down. They didn't score until Georgia was up 45-0. Gunnar Stockton looked good. 2 passing TDs in there, 2 rushing TDs in there. Zachariah Branch, 95 yards receiving. Hello, a 47-yard touchdown. Did not see that in the offing for Georgia. Maybe they might have a pass game down there. We'll see what Notre Dame is able to do against Miami, what Miami is able to do against Notre Dame, go from there. But Clemson might not be a top 10 team after today, right? We'll have to consider that. Alabama might not be a top 25 team after today. We have to consider that as well. I still think that Oklahoma's real good, and I think that they showed that tonight against an Illinois State that obviously is in the FCS, but what you needed to see from you, and you saw. John Mateer went out there, went 33 of 37 for 392 yards with 4 total tutties and 1 INT. That means that John Mateer broke Baker Mayfield's record for the most passing yards by an OU quarterback in his debut. That's the company he's keeping out the gate. That's what you needed to see, okay? Torrey Blaylock had a rushing touchdown in this one. Keontez Lewis showing up in a huge way for Oklahoma, making some acrobatic plays. And my favorite, they held the Redbirds to 151 total yards. It means the Brent Venables defense is out there doing what it needs to do. I think it's a top 10 team. Indiana beat up on Old Dominion, right? It's Old Dominion, but you also got 300 rushing yards out of that Hoosiers offense against the Monarchs. I think that that's worth looking at. A couple days ago, we saw Illinois stomp a mud hole in Western Illinois, walk it dry, 52-3. They had A.J. Lottery. He went for, or excuse me, Aiden Lottery. He went for 119 yards on like 9 rushes, something ridiculous like that. Florida might be a top 15 program after it's all said and done. They stopped a mud hole in Long Island and walked it dry, 55-0. Means that Florida's got the number 1 scoring defense in the country because the next score that they give up will be the first score that they've given up all year. That's what you like to see if you are a Florida fan. A&M, like I said, they got off to a slow start. They finished strong. Iowa State got off to a slow start, ended up beating up on South Dakota 55-7. Meanwhile, Kansas State damn near put $475,000 back in North Dakota's bag. They need to come back late. They end up getting the W. SMU beating up on directional Tennessee State is not really going to do much for me. I'm not one of them types. I'm not one of them dudes. You're not going to do that. Florida State, though, Florida State's got to be a top 20 program after today. What we saw from Tommy Castellanos, what we saw from Gus Malzahn, the way that they were moving and jiving, he was cooking them, dog. He was cooking that Alabama defense. I kept going, is at one point or another, Kane Womack going to figure this out, right? Nope. Gus Malzahn had that dude up one side, down the other. He was playing chess and homie was playing checkers. I realized that Ryan Williams went out late with a concussion, but Jeremy Bernard was doing everything he could to put that team on his back. And Ty Simpson was absolutely getting thrown to the ground. It was an outstanding performance on both sides, right? Tony White was in his bag. Gus Malzahn was in his bag. Tommy Castellanos talked his talk, walked his walk, had me backing it up, right? Just had me backing up going, my fault, dog. I was unfamiliar with your game. I was unfamiliar with how good you were going to be. My fault. Now this is what we're going to expect from Florida State. I love the quote that the homie gave. I forget his name. It said that he played defensive line. But the quote was, if Tommy says we're going to the moon, I'm strapping in. That's my quarterback. Back him to the wall, I believe him. Back him to the wall, they believe him. You win by 2 touchdowns against a top 10 opponent. That's what it's going to be. Now, I realized that there's somebody off in here in the chat talking about Texas Tech. Last time I looked, that game was delayed and you beating up on an HBCU. It's like 47-0. Good for you. You know what? Good for you. Yes, let's give you a clap. You paid $25 million for a roster to go beat up on Arkansas Pine Bluff. Get out of here, dog. Oh, speaking of Arkansas Pine Bluff, takes me straight to Arkansas. My favorite thing today is not Arkansas beating the hell out of whoever it is that they played. I think it's Alabama A&M is another HBCU, if we're being honest about it. But it was the Jumbotron when Arkansas is up 31-7. Jumbotron and Reynolds says, congrats on the divorced Grant. Plenty of fish in the sea. I love living in the South, dog. I love living. I'm a divorced man, right? Divorced man. Relationship ended 8-year relationship ended like a year ago. Your man's been out here butt naked and wild. I love stuff like that. I really do. Somebody in that man's family, somebody's homie, somebody's friend got his whole back when they got that on the Jumbotron. And somebody operating the scoreboard in the press box is like, you know what? Let's do it for Grant. Let's do it for Grant. Let's pick that man up. Let's go. Let's get him out here. Let's also get him in front of these 100,000 Razorback fans, half of whom are women, maybe a fifth of whom are single, and be like, oh, where's Grant? Y'all see Grant? Let's go. Grant got money? Is Grant tall? Is Grant fit? What's Grant do for a job? I need them to be scouting out Grant right now. I love that. That was my favorite thing today. A lot of cool stuff happening today. I don't know that I'm going to see a thing that was cooler than that. That is one of the reasons that I absolutely positively love college football. I realize that there's a lot of people out here got nice things to say about Lee Corso. I don't have any Lee Corso stories to tell you. one man that I just do not cross paths with. But the outpouring that you got from people that don't know the man and for whom he means the world was kind of cool to see. You know, like all week long, ESPN did a very good job of giving that man his flowers and making sure that everybody understands what he meant to game day in particular. It's very cool. And then, you know, I work at Fox, so it might feel self-serving for me to say it's class, man, for Fox to put the showing of him picking up the Brutus mascot, putting it on. That was cool, dog. And then I think all his picks went undefeated today. Like, I think he picked everybody that was going to win today. You know, like somebody threw down a parlay today on Lee Corso picks because, you know, nostalgia, and they probably came up a winner in a very big way. That was really cool to see. I keep going through it, and I ask myself, is it that I don't trust Michigan, or is it that it's Michigan? Because there were times during this New Mexico game tonight where I looked at Michigan and I said, what the hell are y'all doing? What is going on in Ann Arbor? And Jason Eck out here dialing up high school trick plays to get TDs. And I'm like, yo, hey, have a good time, Lobos. It's a program that's been down. They've been getting beat up on. Bronco Mendenhall got them like 5-7 or 4-8 and then bolted to Utah State because they could pay him a little bit more money. All right, Jason Eck comes down there from Idaho and says, all right, let's make them the hoe. Let's see what we can do. Let's go up to Ann Arbor and have a good time. They acquitted themselves very well, but so did Bryce Underwood, who threw for 251 yards and a TD, and he looked good, man. Everything he was throwing was a dime. Now, they might have a Georgia problem where dudes can't catch the football, but if you got a guy like Justice Haynes who's going to be running for all the yards like he did tonight, maybe you got a shot. We're going to talk about, well, hell, let's talk about it now. Oklahoma versus Michigan is circled on the calendar for your mans. It's circled, okay? It's been circled for a very long time. It is going to be proving ground, okay? You have a 250-yard passer against New Mexico who ain't nobody, right? But it is an FBS program in Bryce Underwood. You have a 392-yard passer in John Mateer at Oklahoma who beat up on Illinois State, which is an FCS program, which ain't really nobody. But both of the programs came through and did what they needed to do to take care of business. The question that I have going into next week is which defense is going to show up first? Because that's the thing that I didn't get to see a lot of. What I saw from Michigan was fine. It was fine. None of that was decisive. None of that made me feel like Wink Martindale's got another stomper out there. Because frankly, I expected them to leave New Mexico for dead in this game, and they just didn't do it. Maybe they weren't able to do it. Maybe they were never able to do it. But giving up 17 points to this New Mexico team felt like 17 too many. Now, that said, you go look at stats. It feels like 267 yards is not a lot of offense. But when you got 21 first down to 20 for Michigan, and you were able to do this with only 50 yards rushing, and you still turn the ball over 3 times, I got questions about just what Michigan is willing to allow because New Mexico ain't Oklahoma, right? Now, on the other hand, I thought the offense was humming for Chip Lindsey. He was in there in his bag going through formations, giving different looks, giving different personnel, and it felt like Bryce Underwood was picking it up just as quickly as he was throwing it down. I got to give that man a lot of credit for picking that offense up like he did. Now, whenever you got a quarterback throws the ball 47 times, he only throws 208 yards, you got a problem. That's New Mexico had a problem. They threw the ball a bunch. A lot of them were incompletions. And as much as I like Jack Lane and his get down, 4.4 yards ain't going to cut it, right? 10 rushes for 33 yards by Scott Humphrey, that ain't going to cut it. Meanwhile, you getting 16 for 159 out of Justice Haynes. Hell, that's just like old times for Michigan. That's what they want. They want to run the ball. They want to control the clock. They want to play great defense. You get 21 and 31 for 251 out of your quarterback. Hell, that's right on course. Now, does Michigan need a 3,000-yard passer to go win football games? No. They need a guy like Bryce Underwood that can keep them on time, who's going to give everybody an opportunity to make a play. Marlon Klein being your leading receiver is a tight end. I don't know how much I like that, but that seems to be working for Michigan. I don't know that that's going to be a thing that you're going to be able to rely on against Oklahoma because Kendall Daniels is matched up for that. That's one of the reasons he's brought in to play that cheetah position. It'll be fun. It'll be a very fun matchup. I think R. Mason Thomas versus that offensive line is going to be fun. I think Kip Lewis and Kobe McKenzie coming downhill against Justice Haynes and Jordan Marshall. That's going to be fun, especially when they go to the 2-back look. I can't wait to see what Brent Venables is doing or not doing against them. I thought it was really telling that guys like Keontae Lewis and Jalen Guillory got starts and played really well for Oklahoma. I'm still going to pick Oklahoma very early in this game. I am. I feel good about it. Now, it's the number 14 team in the country. They'll probably move up just a little bit because of the jockeying in front of them and the jockeying behind them. But this will be a very good proving match for both of them. Both Oklahoma and Michigan are not expected to win their respective conferences, but I think people have a little bit better indication of what they expect from Michigan in the Big Ten than they do Oklahoma in the SEC, right? Oklahoma come out about 6-7, 2-6. Overhauled, frankly, the offense. Got a new offensive coordinator, got a new quarterback, got new tailbacks, added to the wide receiver tree, retooled the defense. Meanwhile, Sharon Moore has this thing going right where he wants it to go. It is a program that has been surrounded in controversy mostly since the moment that dude became the offensive coordinator, and all they've done is win football games. On a day when Alabama took an L, on a day when Texas took an L, on a day when you could really look at Clemson or LSU and go, okay, which one of you is going to show up? Michigan was still there, right? That's what I would worry about if I was an Oklahoma fan, and I am. They're still there. They'll be there at the end if it's a one-score game. If it's a one-score game, they'll sit on your chest and they'll take everything you want to do away. Sharon got to come home, though. And that's going to be interesting because as a man who went to college at the same time that Sharon Moore went to college, and as a man who watched those Oklahoma teams that he was a part of when he graduated in 2007, for him to fix his mouth and say, I hope at the end of this, I am remembered as a Michigan man, has me taken aback. Homie, your diploma says Oklahoma on it. And now you got to come home. Had I married into a family and then said, I hope I'm remembered with that family's last name, I think my daddy would actually want to have more and more. Might take me by my shirt and go, boy, who raised you? What the hell are you talking about? I would be the welcome that I would give to Sharon Moore as the head coach of Michigan. You want to be a Michigan man? Let me show you how Oklahoma treats a Michigan man. Okay? Ain't no homecoming like it was for Josh Heupel last year. Josh Heupel was coming home. A lot of people love Josh Heupel still in Oklahoma. It is the opposite of the way that you know that Oklahoma fans think of Lincoln Riley. I'll be curious to see what the reception is because not only is it Sharon Moore wears an Oklahoma diploma, it's that he's associated with a program that got caught for cheating and is going to be catching fines for cheating. Oklahoma ain't about cheating. That ain't what we do out here, dog. We gonna get it out the mud. We take an L. We'll take an L. We got our asses whooped last year. But the last thing you're going to say is that we didn't do this in a fair fight. While you also got an Oklahoma head coach who's kicking in $1 million of his own money to help with the revenue sharing, not NIL for his team like Brian Kelly, for the revenue sharing, which goes across the board to all the athletics in the state of Oklahoma. Because everybody understands there is one pro team. Like, I get it. The NBA champ, they in Oklahoma City. But hear me when I tell you, we got a pro football team in Norman. And it's been that way for over 100 years. I don't know that that's how Michigan's getting down. They got 1,013 wins. They got the most in the entire sport. But what is that going to mean when you come to Owen Field where there's only one? That's the question I have. What's it going to do for Bryce Underwood when he's not playing in the friendly confines of the big house? And it is loud and it is deafening. And there is everything to prove for this Oklahoma team. Brent Venables he's got his back against the wall. I don't know if you saw the odds or not, but he got the second best odds to get fired first among Power 4 coaches. Only Arizona coach Brent Brennan has better odds to get fired first, according to our partners at Bet Online, who partner with the show for the start of college football season. I want to see how this is going to go, right? Justice Haynes has seen Oklahoma, and he took an L. Remember, he was at Alabama last year. He knows what Oklahoma looks like at night in Norman. Maybe he's going to prepare them. Maybe he won't. I expected to see more out of Donovan McCauley in this game, too. 4 catches for 31 yards, I guess. You know, I needed to see more from the wideouts. I harped on Marlon Klein there for a bit because you didn't have a wide receiver with more than 260 yards returning this thing. You went to go get Donovan McCauley. He's wearing the number 1 jersey. That's Braylon Edwards' jersey. You don't just get to wear the 1. Like, you wear the 1 because you the dude. I didn't see no duding from Donovan McCauley in this one, dog. I need to see more. Make me understand why you should fear a Michigan passing attack. Because if it's up to Brent Venables, yeah, he's going to load up the box and you're going to get simulated pressures and you're not going to go know where people are coming from. But it'll be 8 and go, all right, Bryce, beat us. Beat this loud noise. Beat all this red that is surrounding you. And then we'll see what smash means. And you'll come to understand Oklahoma. This ain't the place where you get to yell smash, dog. That ain't what we do down here. You can yell it, but don't be surprised you catch a fist back. One of the things y'all got up there, y'all got Detroit Lions, y'all got the Pistons, y'all got Ford Motor Company. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got all this stuff going on up there. Well, ain't nothing to do in Oklahoma, but play football. But play football in 100-degree heat, in 49% humidity. I don't know if somebody told you or not, but it ain't exactly pleasant down here outside. Ain't better be no 40, 50, 60 degrees down here, dog. We ain't got no water with no wind coming off the water. No. You in the middle of the country, in the belt, in the Bible Belt, and it's getting tight. It's getting so tight through here. People is ready to fight walking outside, hitting this stuff in the face. You ain't seen no humidity like the humidities down here, or maybe you have. Maybe you have. I mean, Sharon has. Or did he forget? Mr. Michigan man? Man, woo-wee. That did something to me. You know how I feel about college football. When you get your degree from somewhere, that's your last name. You carry that everywhere. One of the first things you got to list on your resume is where you went to college or where you went to school, your alma mater. That's your family. That's your blood. So for you to look at me and be like, nah, I'm from over there now. I'm from over there. You from where? Nah, this ain't the place where you get to forget where you come from. It's why I say I'm not on a step mill. That's not about geeking out the audience. That's not about getting under your skin. That's not about making fun of this or making light of that, or even having people asking questions in the comments like they do. It is about, that's how we got started here, folk. And I don't get to change the origin story. The origin story is the origin story. I've been doing this for 8 years come September 17th. It's been a long time, man. This show, this channel, this job was a vault. Ohio State, Oklahoma played. Baker planted a flag. I was hype about it. I got on a piece of cardio equipment. I told people about it. My friends watched the video that I posted to YouTube on a lark and said, hey, this is cool. You should do more of this. 8 years ago. So we've grown this show, and it has changed names and it's changed forms. I've licensed it to Fox. I don't license it to Fox now. I still write about college football, national level for Fox. I love this job. I love writing for Fox. You'll see the top 25 coming out very soon. And I'll have some nuggets in there that you'll want to know about. But I say all that to say, I think how you build the thing and how you talk about the thing is as important as the result. So when you say who you are and where you come from, that ain't just you. That's all of us. My last name is Young. That means something to my daddy. It means something to my mama. It means something to my late grandfather. I don't get to change that. That's the history. That's mine. I get to give that to the world. Why would I want to change that for whatever? Again, been through it before. Don't want to go through it again. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? All right. So 34 points for Michigan, 35 points for Oklahoma. It's nothing in between those two things because I don't think you can compare Illinois State to New Mexico. But I do think that this game is going to be remarkably cool and a lot of fun. It's going to have all its pageantry, and it's going to be the game of the week. Tell me in the comments what you think the score is going to be below, and we'll see what we can do. We'll take one more break, and then we'll see if any of y'all got any questions worth answering here. Sometimes y'all just be up in here trying to throw stuff on the screen. Don't do that. Give me a good question so that we can have a good conversation and keep it rolling. Back on Adapt and Respond with me, RJ Young. If you are new to the channel, subscribe, hit that like button, answer questions in the comments below. Who do you think should be the number one team in the country when the AP rankings come out on Tuesday? I would really love to know. I already know that I'm going to make Ohio State the number one team in the country. It's a question about who's going to be number two that I need to answer as we go through the rest of this. But I wanted to take on a few of your questions as we're doing the live show. And if you are listening on the podcast or watching the replay, thanks so much for doing that. You can still answer the questions in the comments below, and you know that I'm going to be in them. Let's see if anybody has a good question that they've asked here in the chat. So chat, go be smart. Let me see. Sincere Shahid. RJ, why are people so hard on Colorado when Georgia Tech returned 27 players from last year? It's a good question, and I appreciate it. The question isn't why. The question is, when are they going to stop? People have been hard on Colorado since the day that Deion Sanders arrived there, in large part because they believe that he and his program have received attention that they should not receive based on how they have played. They were 4-8 their first year. They won 9 games their second year. They're 0-1 to start this season. There is a lot of attention that is paid to Shedeur Sanders even now as the third-string quarterback for the Browns. Caden Salter, Juju Lewis. Caden Salter didn't play well against Georgia Tech. I would argue that had he played better, they win the football game. You can't have a defense that is able to get you 3 turnovers in the first 8 minutes of the game and you still lose that game. You also can't have a defense that gives up 463 yards of offense and gets absolutely broken in half by Haynes King, who was so in on preseason camp that he was sleeping on a inflated mattress in the locker room. Now, I understand wanting to be devoted to preseason camp, but homie, don't act like you ain't got no crib right around the corner. You know what I'm saying? That's too much. What are you doing that for? What you need your back? Like, that's the thing I'd be thinking about if I was Brent Key. I don't need my quarterback sleeping on no air mattress. I need you sleeping on one of these good king beds. Can't we get you an NIL deal where you got a good bed out here? I'm telling y'all, man. Some of y'all gonna hear me on this, but the YT people sweeping on the air matches. We won't. No, we do that because we got it. We don't do that because we wanna. No. You're not gonna catch me being a starting quarterback at Georgia Tech, an engineering university, white collar university, sleeping on an air mattress. For what? For the story? No, man. Don't tell me about Haynes King having no neck and back issues later in the season. I know where that came from. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna see that at Colorado. You understand you're going to play and you're going to get what you deserve based on your play. I think people are hard on Colorado because it's a game that it felt like they could win, and they let it get away. I think they're going to continue to be hard on Colorado because anytime Deion Sanders wants to sit down and talk about stuff, guess who wants to show up and listen? You do. We do. I don't do a lot of Colorado and Deion Sanders segments here because my health says so. I do it because it's the kind of stuff that y'all would watch. If I could make a segment about University of Tulsa football and you would watch it, guess what I would do? But don't mind give a damn about my undergrad alma mater. They only care about my master's alma mater. Keep it at 100. Keep it a buck. If Colorado did not move the needle, people would not care. But people love to love that team and love to hate that team, which means that everybody's under the same roof watching Colorado football. Let me see what else we got in here. I think I got time. Let me see. Daniel Holly. Is Jim Knowles going to be at Penn State's head coach next year? It's interesting. As I'm answering that question, drop in the comments, in the chat, where you are tuning in from. Something else that we're trying out here. I'm very curious to find out where people watch the show from. Every now and again, somebody pops up from the UK. Somebody pops up from, and I mean that, like Ireland and England. Somebody pops up from Australia. One dude popped up from the Philippines trying to get me down there on the passport wife stuff, and I can no, I don't do none of that. No. If the good Lord wants to provide me with a partner, she will be from here, homie. She will be from the United States. I ain't not. No, can't do that. On the flip side, Jim Knowles doesn't want to be a head coach. That's what it looks like to me, dog. He's had opportunities to be a head coach. He likes being a defense coordinator. He likes being a play caller. He doesn't want to coach positions. He just wants to coach his defense. I think if he wanted to be a head coach last year at even a Power 4 institution, he would have been. I don't think that James Franklin is going to be pushed out of that seat. I think they'll win 9-10 games from here until he doesn't. And then that's when he'll be fired. But I don't think that Jim Knowles is ever going to get that job. If anything, Andy Kotelnicki might be the next guy to get a Power 4 job out of Penn State. But I got to tell y'all, the guys that have left Penn State as coordinators to take head coaching jobs, it ain't been fun. It ain't been fun. Take a look at Virginia Tech tomorrow when they play South Carolina. Tell me how fun that is. Tell me how Ricky Ronnie's doing at Old Dominion. I would stay my black ass right there at Penn State for as long as I can until such time as I get another coordinator job I might want to take, like Tom Allen did with Clemson. I mean, he found another place he wanted to go. Frankly, Tom Allen's disposition and his whole get down fits better with what Dabo and Clemson is doing than what James Franklin's doing at Penn State. I actually like that one quite a bit. Let me see. One more in here. Let me see. Are Klubnik or Nussmeier first-round picks worthy quarterbacks? I wasn't overly impressed with either of them today, and Miami will be number 2 next week after beating Notre Dame. Okay, all right. That's a take. That's a take. We'll see how that one lands after they play on Sunday night. But to the first part of that question, quarterbacks being taken in the first round, whether or not they're first-round talents, that's just going to happen. I think Garrett Nussmeier is much more of a first-round talent than Cade Klubnik. But that's because I don't like what I see from Cade Klubnik from mechanics, from decision-making. I think when he's great, he's great. I think he's an outstanding college quarterback. I think Garrett Nussmeier, from the jump, has looked like an NFL quarterback. The things that people wanted to tell me about Jackson Dart, I believe about Garrett Nussmeier. And he's got the 4,000-yard passing season last year. Brings the interceptions down. But today, you saw him taking care of the football. And if you give him the dudes, he's going to be all right. I wondered how he's going to function without Will Campbell over there to absolutely put the fear of God into everybody that plays defensive line against them. Turns out to be just fine, right? In as far as how the NFL views our sport and takes quarterbacks, I can't call it, man. You took Jackson, you traded up to go get Jackson Dart. I wouldn't have done that. But then again, I would take Shedeur Sanders in the first round, not the 5th. Certainly wouldn't have traded up to go get him. I would just got him. Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd. Jalen Milroe in the 3rd. Tyler Shuck in the 2nd? I don't know if they know if they're coming or going. And nobody wants to pick a fight with the NFL front offices because you think they know more than you. But damn it, man, we watch college football. I watch college football every day that it's on. It's my job. That's how I can rank the teams. Ranked all 136 teams. I can't make heads or tails what the hell it is they think they see in some of these players. Some of them turn out to be decent. Some of them turn out to be good. So in as far as being a first-round talent, man, it's a short list. It's a very short list. And right now, I'm not sure who's on it. Like Carson Beck's got an opportunity to join Garrett Nussmeier as a first-round talent tomorrow. Do the Cam Ward. But you don't think that Arch Manning is a first-round talent anymore. You're not sure that Julian Sayin is one. You keep going down the line on this. Who do you trust? Is John Mateer first-round talent? I think so. But he played Illinois State. And the last year he played at Washington State. He goes and beats Michigan. We'll have that conversation, right? Right now, make it Garrett Nussmeier, and then we'll see, right? Make it Garrett Nussmeier, and then we'll see. All right. I've already done a longer show than I would normally do because we don't do the hour-long shows because we do so many of them. But thank you so much for joining us here on Adapt and Respond. If you enjoyed the post-game shows, if you enjoyed the live show, let me know that in the comments. And if you listen on the podcast, thanks so much for doing that. And I will see y'all tomorrow night as we got one more big, huge, massive game to talk about. And you know what? We may be doing something on Monday night too. So you'll see more of me. I'll see more of you. I'll catch y'all on the flip side. Yes.